Hi, thanks for signing up. Now, before we get started, you need to know that I am not an attorney, I am not a CPA, I am not a financial advisor, and I'm not a retirement planning expert. The information I'm about to share with you is for educational purposes only, and it's simply what I have learned from my experiences in real estate. What you choose to do with it is totally up to you, but my hope is that you'll discover a great alternative to the beaten path of investing for retirement and that you would investigate it further. But I do encourage you to consult with a licensed professional before taking action on anything that you learn here. So let's get started. If you're like most people, you're probably saving for retirement through a 401k or an IRA. That means you have an administrator who invests your money in a mix of stocks and bonds. And the hope is that those investments over time will grow to a nice fat bank account that you can retire on in 20 to 30 years. The reality, however, is that even if you have double-digit returns from the stock market for 20 years, all that value is only on paper until you sell it, which means it can disappear overnight. And many people have learned that lesson the hard way. For example, because of the recession of 2008, many people who expected to retire either had to work longer or settle for a much lower retirement income. This is why most retirement advisors recommend that as you approach retirement, you should reduce your risk and instead seek more secure investments like bonds, for example. The problem with this strategy, however, is that you end up sacrificing growth for security. So instead of growing your retirement fund by 6 to 8% annually, as you would in the riskier stock market, you accept only 2 or 4% growth with bonds since they're safer. But you don't have to pick one or the other. You can get both. You can get high security and high growth. And in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to show you how to do that with real estate. You see, people have always used real estate to build secure long-term wealth. And you don't have to be wealthy, and you don't have to become a landlord or a house flipper to do it either. The fact is, if you've ever borrowed money from a bank to buy a house, then you already know how this works. Basically, a bank lends money on a house in exchange for two things: a specific rate of interest and a lien on the property. So if the borrower pays as agreed, the bank will make 4 or 5 times its investment over the term. If the borrower doesn't pay as agreed, the bank gets the house back plus all the equity in it. It's a pretty sweet deal for the bank, and that's why they've been doing it for so long. What most people don't know, however, is that you can do the exact same thing. You can be the bank. You can decide how fast your money grows and protect it at the same time. And it's simple, really. All you have to do is finance a property for a buyer on your terms, just like the bank. That's it. That's really the whole strategy in a nutshell. So for example, let me show you how I use this strategy in my business. I buy, fix, and sell houses with owner financing, but I don't use banks to fund my projects. I use private lenders. A private lender is just someone who lends out their money in exchange for a fixed rate of interest. That's it. So I borrow funds from my private lenders. I pay them a great rate of interest for 10, 20, or 30 years, and I secure their money with the property. Now let me give you a real life example. I recently found a house worth $125,000 that I could buy for $85,000 including repairs. So I went to John, who is one of my private lenders. Now he's not wealthy, but he had funds in his retirement plan and he wanted it to grow in a faster and more secure way. So John funded the $85,000 at 10% interest so I could purchase the property. So he got a first lien position on the property just like a bank to protect his money, and it will be earning 10% annual interest for the next 20 years. Now compare that to what most other people do. If John left his retirement funds in the stock market, he'd probably earn 6 to 8%, but it would all be at risk without any security, so it could just disappear overnight. If he invested in bonds, his money would be much more secure, but he would only earn about 2 to 4% every year on his money. But instead, John became my bank. So now he'll be earning 10% on his money every year, and it will be secured by real estate. Now, this is why banks and the wealthy have been doing this for so long. It just makes a lot more sense. You see, as a private lender, rather than a stockholder or a bondholder, you set the terms up front and in writing. Because you have a contract, you can reasonably predict the value at any given time, and that makes retirement planning so much easier. You control the factors for success. You control the contract and you control the property. It's not influenced by government or corporate behavior like stocks and bonds. And finally, if your expectations aren't met, then you get the property back and all the equity that's been built into it. And you can be doing this too. All you have to do is be the bank for someone who wants to buy a house, whether it's a real estate investor like me or just someone else you know. Now, obviously, there's still a lot of unanswered questions here, like how do I use my retirement funds to do this? How do I make sure that I'm protected? What happens if the borrower stops paying? What if I plan to retire in less than 30 years? And how do I manage the loan? And there's just no way I could cover all the answers here because everyone's situation is different. But I do want to help. That's why I'm offering a free coaching session so that I can walk you through this strategy step by step and answer all of your questions. Just fill out the form below and I'll contact you to set up some time to talk. If you're here in the San Antonio area, then we can schedule a meeting and review all your questions over some breakfast tacos. And don't worry, I don't have anything to sell you. I just want to answer any burning questions you have about this strategy and set you on the right path to success. Now, you're probably wondering why I'd be willing to share my time and all this information with you for free. And it's for two reasons. First of all, this is a solid and proven way to build a better retirement than what the traditional plan offers, and I believe that everyone deserves to know it. This way, more people can enjoy the retirement that they've earned and always dreamed about. Secondly, I rely on private lenders and referrals for my business, and I believe that once you see the benefits of this strategy, you'll share it with others, and many of them will choose to join my team of private lenders. So, whether you choose to work as a private lender with an investor like me or someone else you know, you owe it to yourself to investigate this option further. I really hope this has been helpful for you, and I hope that you'll take advantage of the free coaching session I'm offering by completing the form below. Thank you for your attention, and I hope to hear from you soon.